Hi everyone, it is so amazing having you join us again yet for another Dermo28 Connect webinar series. My name is Charmaine Cooper, and once again I am yours truly here to help support you in your ongoing education with Dermo28 and your professional as well as your home care recommendation treatments for your clients. Today's topic of our webinar is so amazing. It's all about achieving pro tips and tricks with Dermo28. Now, many of you out there, you're very familiar with Dermo28. Some of you are fairly new to the brand, but you've been working with it a little bit. Maybe you graduated and you've gotten your starter sets of products. Well, wherever you are in your phase, you want to make sure that you have a grasp of the foundational aspects of how to use the line. And if you need to, we've got a roster of great webinars that you can take a look at to really get the backdrop information of the fundamentals and the rudimentary elements of Dermo28 treatments. But today is all about your expert pro tips. So we're going to be showing you some unconventional tricks and tips. And of course, we're not all just going to talk to you, obviously, through a presentation, but we're going to get our great model that's ready and raring to go, Masi, who'll be joining me shortly. And I'll be showing you how I put it all together within our treatment. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and just remind you that we do have webinars on the monthly level. They will be made available to you. So our next webinar is all about getting flawless skin for a flawless finish. I know many of us are all about, getting that flawless, filter-free state of our clients' makeup, or even when we're doing our own. But we all know as professionals, come on everyone, that it starts with a perfect, flawless canvas. So we want to work to correct and repair, and we're going to be showing you some key staple products for those makeup artists out there that are in you, and products you never really want to take for granted, but you always want to have on hand when and before you're about to do your makeover. So that's going to be taking place in March. So I just want to let you know a little bit about that beforehand. So today we're going to be covering 7 Dermo28 tips and tricks for your treatment room. Now we're going to start off with the order of which we begin a treatment, which is really the cleansing, and we're going to finish you all the way up to when we are getting ready to raise the client up out of the bed to proceed her to the consultation area to complete the treatment with home care recommendation. But today's focus is in the treatment room. So we're going to take you through the makeup removal, how to remove that stubborn makeup, disincrustation solution. So that's a biggie, because some of you are like, didn't realize that Dermo28 had that. Well, we're going to be showing you that we do. Number 3, deep cleansing to boost any of your peels. Are you starting a peel for the first time on a client that you are not really sure how her skin's going to respond to it? Give her a kickstart. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And one of my favorites, indirect high frequency. How many of us know direct high frequency, but we don't remember that it also has multifaceted purposes? And indirect is one of my fan faves, and I hope it will be one of yours as well. And of course, acidifying your mask. Now, when I talk about acidifying, you know that we're talking about the contrary to alkalinity. So we're going to be showing you how to do that. Boost your mask with a deep, purifying, acidifying effect. 6, rev up your masks and moisturizers, and finishing up with safeguarding your treatment with, caring for those raw, tender areas. And we're going to show you how easily to do that, and then finishing your client with the wow factor. Now, to do that, we're going to be starting off with some key products, your vitamin E oil. We'll be taking us through. I'll be showing you a close-up of the products as well, so you can take a quick visible look. And our Pura Peel Therapy. We're also going to be taking a look at our Nutriage Vital Mask. And of course, Crema Acida. One of my staple dynamic duos is Crema Acida with your pH Regulatora. And of course, we're going to finish off with our Nutriage Soothing Formula. Okay, so tip number 1. You're achieving this great makeup. You've got this pressure, you've got this bridal makeup, and she's depending upon you to achieve the perfect skin. So we want to make sure that we have taken the time to prime the skin. But when it comes time to remove that immovable makeup, right? We want to make sure we do it safely and effectively. And to do that, we're going to be taking a look at removing the makeup without struggle and without compromise. I'm talking that liquid liner. I'm talking that dare you to remove me mascara. I'm talking that. And I'm also talking a safe removal of your lash extensions. Yes, at the end of their lifespan, when you want to start getting them off and they're falling off one by one, but you've got those few that are remaining, you want to make sure that you remove it carefully without compromising or losing your natural lashes. So the Dermo28 pro tip is the use of our vitamin E and A oil in Nutriage. Remove stubborn makeup, mascara, liquid liner without compromising the health of the skin. In fact, it's also going to add a nourishing and a healing property to the eyelids. So let's say you've got dermatitis on the eyes, or your client has a little bit of sensitivity, or you really want to help to boost and nourish the lashes as you remove the makeup. This is great. And the beauty about it, everyone, it's an oil. So oil breaks up an oil like nobody's business. So that's going to be our tip number one, removing our makeup while restoring health to the eyelids. Number two, now this is one of the ones I was telling you about. So everyone knows a staple part of your treatment is to do your prep. So you really want to ensure, yes, you've exfoliated, all of that, but you also want to ensure that you have used an effective desincrustation solution. So to do that, we have to make sure that we use something that's effective. And I'm going to show you something you already know, and that is the use of our 2 sachets from our Pura therapy, which is a fantastic peel therapy. However, it also doubles up as a great desincrustation solution. I love the fact that this works so wonderfully well because it is the only one that helps to soften impactions, loosen up tight skin. You can see the blackheads there, but you also see that there's a lot of tightness, dehydration, and it adequately prepares for the extractions. Now that is key. The tip here is you want to use it under steam. Yes, so I've got my handy little steamer ready. I'm going to be doing that today in our demonstration. But you want to use this under steam. It is the only of all of the Dermo28 peels that are therapies that we advise you use a steam to enhance the function. So Pura therapy under steam changes the functionality into saponifying the impacted plug. That's just a fancy way, as we all know, of saying it's soaping up the hardened blackhead so that your blackheads are going to pop out like spaghetti. Don't mean to gross you out, but that's really the choice there. So you'll see me kind of walk you through that. I won't be doing a full extractions today, but it is ideal. So remember, that is what you want to use for about 5 to 7 minutes to really loosen up the skin. Love, love, love tip number 2. I think you'll see some great results if you're especially dealing with some of your clients that are struggling and having those stubborn impactions that you see they're ready, but they're just not coming out. Let's go on to our tip number 3. Tip number 3, now we just talked about our Pura therapy, but we have many therapies that we have. We have many peels. We have our VitaPeel. We have our VitaPeel Plus. So when you're doing your peels, you want to select your appropriate peel based upon the needs of the client. You also want to take a look at what is the issue that you want to correct in their skin, and you choose accordingly. However, if it's her first time with you, and if you really want to take her to the next level, even if it's an advanced client, and you're starting a new season of peels, why not kickstart her peel or his peel with the use of, here we go again, Pura therapy. This is the only one that helps to decongest the skin to intensify the results of any other peel therapy that you use afterwards. The reason why it is so effective is that it acts, everyone, as a primer. It removes whatever debris will possibly impede the efficacy of the peel that you choose. Now, I don't want to confuse you. You do want to follow up by using your selected peel afterwards, but this is not in the same treatment. What do I mean by that? Is that you want to ensure that you use this the week before her peel treatment. So you're booking for, let's say, a series of 4 or 6. Her first treatment with you, if you deem her skin is ready, is you want to prime and you want to intensify results for a peel by using this in treatment number 1. Treatment number 2, the following week, you'll select your Illumina, or you'll select your Comfort Therapy, or you'll select your Unica, one of my favorites, obviously, and your Nutriage. You'll select your VitaPeel or VitaPeel Plus. I hope that makes sense for you. So your week prior to starting her on the corrective focus of that treatment is to prime it with Pura therapy to give an intensifying kickstart to your peel exactly 7 days later. Try it. Take some of your staple clientele that you're probably in your mind thinking, okay, I know who I could really try this on because I've been struggling with seeing her skin really take off. It's lifeless, it's a little bit dull. Kickstart with your Pura therapy. Great results, but it takes a little bit of creativity. That's why we're talking about thinking outside of our box. All right, you ready for the next one? Let's go into one of my favorites. I told you this earlier. Pro tip number 4 is treating aging skin. I'm aging, in fact, everyone is aging the moment we exit our mother's womb. But the signs of aging can be controlled by how we treat our skin. Lifestyle, of course, as you know, but there's also some great tools at your arsenal and at your disposal that you could be sitting on. One of them is the direct high frequency machine. We usually just do direct high frequency, but that's going to zap and, purify and give the ozone efficacy on the skin to really treat acne. But what about the clients who are aging? What about the clients who have lackluster, dull skin? What about someone whose lymphatic flow is not flowing as it ought to? That client is going to yield more of a dull, lackluster skin. The radiance is gone. The thrill is gone from the skin. We want to put the thrill right back in. So using our indirect high frequency with a different probe, it's going to be the tongue electrode or the probe. It's going to allow the client to participate with you. You'll see me do this with Masi. She will hold the tongue probe. That's going to be her attachment. I'm going to safeguard it around her so that she can enjoy her treatment and not feel like she has to work because I'm doing the work, right? So I'm going to show you how to safeguard her hands so that she can relax. And then you and me, as the professional skin coach and therapist, we are going to manipulate the medium on the skin with our fingers. So what's that medium? I know some of you are probably thinking, oh yeah, easily, crema acida. Yes, crema acida is fantastic. However, it absorbs very quickly and with good reason. We want it to absorb so that we can get the pH regulator on to remove it. So for slip and glide, we're going to suggest that you don't use crema acida. We're going to suggest that you go to Nutriage and you're going to use your Vital Mask. This mask acts as a hybrid, as a mask as well as a massage medium, believe it or not, because it's got the emolliency, it's got the nourishing properties in it. It also has your vitamin-rich infused nutrients to really help to nourish the skin back to recovery. Damaged skin, aged skin, sun-damaged skin, skin that's lifeless, devitalized, loss of tone. This helps to stimulate collagen because it's got your plant stem cell technology in all of Nutriage. This mask, everyone, is fantastic. And the fact that you can keep it on the skin longer and you can ionize it deeper by using it through indirect high frequency, next level. Next level right away. So you're going to see me do that for Masi a little bit later. Again, Dermo28 pro tip. Apply to face, neck, chest, Don't be hesitant. And it's about a full 5 to 7 minutes. And then it'll be nice for you to go ahead and remove that with a great steam towel. Okay. So just reminding you, key benefits: treat to sluggish skin. It's going to be massaged on the skin. It helps to improve radiance because by your slight finger movements, you're actually going to help desquamation. So any devitalized dead skin cells lingering around are going to lift off. Also, it'll improve vasodilation. That's going to get that kickstart, that get up and go back in the skin. And of course, it's going to encourage lymphatic flow. So the body, the skin will help to flush out its own toxins. Indirect high frequency, I believe, is an unsung hero that's really been undervalued. So we're bringing a resurgence back to this because it is phenomenal in your treatment room. Double it up with vinyl masks, you'll see the results. So are you ready for number 5? Number 5 is our acidifying of our masks. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so we're using our mask. We have multiple masks in Dermo28. But we want to focus on the acidifying aspect. So what do we mean by acidifying? All of our masks are acid balanced. In fact, all of our products are. We want to ensure added purifying properties in the skin when we're using our mask. Who would this be for? Obviously, it's for someone who has issues with alkalinity. Your oily and your acneic skin. So I don't want to railroad this into, okay, that's right away talking about a teen skin. No, let's broaden our perspective. We could be talking about mature, medium, young skin. We could be talking about pigmentation. We could be talking about sensitivity, aging, aggressive aging, and even acneic skin. You determine what your client needs. And if it's hormonal acne or hormonal stress-induced excess oil production at whatever phase they're at, you can help to tone that down by acidifying their skin at the mask stage. When you do this, I'm going to show you how you can soften a clay mask. Our clay masks don't harden and cake up anyway, so that's number 1. That's great. But if you also want to really infuse with more hydration, I'm going to show you how to do that. It's going to also help to deepen penetration and purification of your masks, and it will boost antibacterial properties in your formula mask, whatever mask you choose, right? And it's perfect for those of you who are device just gurus, your microcurrent, I'm talking your galvanic, ultrasonic, anything to ionize your treatments and to pulverize it deeper into the skin. What are we talking about? Well, we are talking about taking 2 of our staple products, dynamic duos, crema acida and pH regulatora, and acidifying your mask. Here I have Pura Active Mask as my classic example. I'm going to show you how I do that today with Masi. But what I would do is I would take my Pura mask, my purifying mask, and I would do equal parts of my crema acida. So I'm going to dispense equal parts of my crema acida into my purifying mask. And I'm going to go ahead and mix it together, blend it together. And then, if that wasn't good enough, I'm going to make it even that much better. I'm going to apply a 1.5 pumps of our pH regulatora, and I'm going to ensure that that also just really helps to highlight the fluidity of the mask. It's going to help to increase the spreadability of the mask, and it's also going to help to ensure the acidity of the mask. So love, 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 and I think I'm assuming a lot for you, but I'm so confident. I want you to try these tips. I'm confident you will see the results. So take, for example, that client that, yes, you've been using purifying mask, or you've been using your favorite mask for her or him for some time, but you just want that extra edge. Or let's say you're incorporating LED treatments, or you want to do your IPLs. You want to encourage by implementing some of your additional device in your treatments. Well, this is going to intensify the mask to match what you're doing in the treatment with whatever device you choose. So that is our tip number 5. On to our second last tip, Number 6, rev up your mask and moisturizers. This is so simple, but so effective. Now, I do want to give a caveat. The key thing here we have to understand is no matter what complexes, what serums you're using in Dermo28, they are better and more potent when you apply them directly on the skin themselves, right? And then you apply, following up with a moisturizer, following it up with a mask. So either or. What I'm talking about here is adding a corrective influence to the functionality of the moisturizer, to the functionality of the actual mask. And this is going to influence that mask or that moisturizer with this corrective property so that you can get more diversification in that treatment. We're all about customization, right? I want to remind you that you can change it up. And every time you see your client, you can see different needs. So any of the complexes, and also our favorite Nutriage, vitamin E and A oil. I talked about this when we were removing our eye makeup at the very beginning, but I'll tell you, it almost looks like a scientific vial. So this is going to be very, very, very effective when you apply it into your masks and when you also apply it into your moisturizers. Just a few drops, and then the beauty about that is that it's increasing nourishment, it's increasing cell renewal, and it's also going to increase the overall health and wellness of the skin. We're still in winter here. I mean, we thought we saw the worst, but we got a snowfall today. So remember, especially in wintertime, it's great to give that boost. Maybe not change their moisturizer, but give a boost to their moisturizer. So that's your pro tip that you can use there. And number 7, our 7th tip is safeguarding and treating the eyes, the lips, and tender spots around the face. When you're doing more invasive treatments or not, you could just be having a client that's a little bit more sensitive, you want to ensure that you diffuse the redness towards the end of their treatment, right? You want to be able to create an invisible glove between the skin and the outside world, especially if you're dealing with a sensitive skin, especially if you're dealing with a skin that's undergone controlled wounding. So if you've got dermatitis patches in certain crease areas of your clients, this is a spot treat that is phenomenal. It shields raw tenderized skin, and it also helps to, this is one of my favorite, for the lips, it helps to plump the vermilion border. Now, this border around our lips is one of the undervalued, mostly ignored aspects of our face when it comes to safeguarding against aging. But when the aging starts around the lips, it's almost like overnight. It's rapid. So when we talk about using our soothing formula, this is not just a lip treatment, it is a lip therapy that volumizes with stem cell technology the lips, and at the same time it's helping to heal, shield, and recover the raw areas of the face. Also available in your retail. Don't forget, some of your tips, you can send your clients home with those same tips and they can do that as needed. I love how it goes underneath lip gloss, lipstick, without it feeling gunky, but it's treating as it's conditioning, and it's volumizing, of course. So pucker up, ladies, your lips are about to get a lot better. All right, so at the end of everything, we want to make sure that we apply it properly. So you can either apply with your finger, you'll see me apply it on Masi, or with a Q-tip application, but just spot treat, especially around those areas that you want to finish off with. Okay, so very simple to use. And then at the end of your treatment, obviously we would have done the full gamut. We won't be demonstrating everything today like SPF and whatnot. But when it's time to say goodbye to your client, you're not going to say goodbye in the treatment room. You're going to actually assist her to shift into the next phase of her treatment, which is really home care. How can she maintain those great results that you have achieved in the treatment room today? And it's always nice to kind of give a little wow factor, give a little bit of an added value that she didn't expect or anticipate. So you're going to see how I finish off my treatment with Masi. I'm going to help to elevate her, and I'm also going to throw in my extra steam towel there, and I'll show you some different tips and tricks to really make that effective as well. Let's go ahead and get into our treatment. We are now putting it together, everything that we covered in our pro tips and tricks with Dermo28, and we're going to compile it all together in our treatment for Masi. So let's step right on into it. our first step, our first tip was, remember talking about that stubborn and hard to remove makeup. So what I've done is I wanted to show you that I've taken some Q-tips and I have gone ahead and I've sat them in water so they are dampened. And I'm also going to grab my Dermo28 vitamin E and A oil. So that, remember, was going to be our oil-based agent that's going to help to really remove any oil-based makeup. So liquid liner, as well as also any of our hard to remove mascara, and just a few drops is all you need. So nothing really over the top, but just a little bit. And then I'm going to take my dampened cotton tips and I'm dampening them so that I can ensure that they are not going to absorb the oil on me. I want it to give back what I want it to be using. So you can either go ahead and use your gauze underneath the eye, or you can go ahead and just make sure that you keep your Q-tip on the underside of the lashes. So I'm going to go ahead and just position a dry tip of the Q-tip, and I'm going to just start by sweeping down. So this is sweeping away any oil-based debris. At the same time, we're also conditioning the lashes with vitamin E and retinol palmitate, which is a derivative. It's not harsh retinol A, but it is going to help to strengthen. Now, at the same time, this can also be used a little bit on the fingertips, just to go ahead and just take it right by the eyelids, move it around, and then rinse off with the gauze. So I would do the same with the flip side of my Q-tips, and I would do the same for the other eye. Again, I can go ahead and just hold or position my Q-tip underneath, and I'm just sweeping down. You always want to get both sides of the lashes, sweeping down and also rolling up. This, I cannot say enough, is an effective way to further support the removal of your oil-based debris. All of our cleansers help to remove makeup wonderfully, but this is just more for your stubborn aspects of makeup that's just kind of holding on to those last remnants of the skin or the lashes. Now, what I'm just going to do as well is I'm going to take 2 cotton gauze and I'm just going to dampen it in a bowl of water. Now that I have swept away any of the mascara that's kind of been lingering around the lashes, I want to just place it gently on top of the eyelids. And if I was using it on the eyelids, it would be included there as well. Hold it momentarily, and I'm just going to sweep away. And I like to also maybe just go underneath and do the same. Okay, so I think this is something that we've all experienced over our tenure with doing our treatments, and that's at the very end of the treatment. You see lash makeup, you see eyeliner, you see liquid liner. This is just going to be that extra safeguard to remember and to ensure that you've removed it completely. Okay, so now we're ready for step 2. So remember, we talked about the importance of ensuring that you prep the skin for extractions. Well, we love extractions, right? You either love it or hate it, but we know it's necessary. But some of those stubborn impactions don't want to give up the blackhead. So we need to ensure that we exfoliate, we've cleansed properly, which we have for Masi in our standard treatment. But remember, you've got that tip at the edge of your arsenal with the amazing formula of our Pura therapy. So we're going to go ahead and use this as our desincrustation solution. So number 1, I'm just going to go ahead and take our first sachet and I'm going to dispense it into our container. And remember, your sachet number 1 is always really where the acids are. So the beauty about the focus of this particular Pura therapy is that it is doubling up as a desincrustation solution under steam. So you are going to see me apply it under steam, and that is going to activate the saponification action of the Pura therapy. So let's go ahead now, turn on Masi's steam, and you're going to see me go ahead and apply it on her problematic areas, which is primary for her, the T-zone. All right, so now that we've actually saponified the Pura therapy as a desincrustation on Masi's skin for about 5 up to 7 minutes, we're ready to go ahead and remove it. So all you need, obviously, is just some rinsing water. And I've just grabbed my gauze. And all you need to know is that water neutralizes it. So we know that this is still going to slightly alter the pH balance of the skin. And I know some of you diehards out there, for your crema acida as well as your pH regulatora, you know that we need to ensure that we have definitely balance that skin every time we remove water. Now, in this particular case, we have, remove bacteria. So I'm going to actually just show technically how we would go ahead and do our extractions. But after that, that's when you really want to make sure the skin is balanced again and kills that additional bacteria that might be lingering on the skin. So we've just rinsed it off, so after it's saponified. And then we would do our extraction. So however you do your extraction, some people do with tissues, some people do with gauze, you would focus on the flat surfaces of the face as well as the nose area, which is always a little bit tricky. But I'll tell you, if you try this tip in your treatment room, the struggles that you've once experienced are no longer struggles at all. So we're just going to go ahead and our flat surfaces really give a little bit of a tension to the area of the skin where blackheads are concentrated, and we're just going to make sure that we remove. So we would do the same thing for the chin, everywhere that a client might have melia or congestion or blackheads, but the nose area is always a tricky area. So I'm going to show you one side here. You always want to make sure that you make a mound of the skin. You're just going to take the edge of your finger, pop the side of the nostril, and you're going to ensure that you really give some added pressure so that you'll notice those now saponified impactions are going to come out a lot easier. And we would do that as often as we need, ensuring that the client is not too uncomfortable, but that we are letting her know that we are respecting the fact that she needs to breathe, and at the same time giving her her full gamut of her treatment by purifying any impactions as well. And we would do that with wherever else is needed. All right? The interesting thing is everything is self-contained when you're ready. So we go ahead, remove everything by popping off our gloves, but we need to kill any bacteria that we have maybe extracted and brought out on the surface of the skin. In that regard, there is none other to use than our pH regulatora. So pH regulatora is extremely astringent. It also ensures that we balance the pH. It has your astringents, your natural astringents that kill any bacteria as well, and ensure that the skin is acidified. So we want to make sure that we use that in the area that's needed, anywhere that we would have done extractions. Again, always keeping in mind what is the focus of the client's treatment. If she doesn't have a lot of extractions, you don't have to spend a lot of time here. But this is an added professional trick and tip for you if you found that you've had some struggling with certain clients with their impactions. All right, so on to our next step. Our next step is actually going to go into one of my favorites, and that is really targeting the kickstart to your peels. Now, I'm not going to actually demonstrate it because, as you remember in our theory, that we focused on using the exact same, this is a multifunctional therapy. It's a peel therapy. So whether you're using pura, or in Masi's case, I know that when I talked to her in her consultation, her concern was more aging. So I know you know what I'm thinking. This would have been my focus for her peel. So I would have given her a phenomenal Unica peel, which is our tri-part peel. And that would be week 2, remember. So I would have gone ahead and primed her skin with Pura therapy the week before to give a kickstart to the impact of her Unica therapy or Vita Peel or whatever. And again, even if Masi was a regular client of mine and she's been seeing some great results, and now I'm ready to ramp up the quality of her results to another level, then I can really help to increase it by including Vita Peel in that mix as well. All right, so you always want to think bundle, and you always want to think series of treatments. Okay, so now before we go into the use of our indirect high frequency medium, we want to ensure that the indirect high frequency probe is set up safely and effectively in our client's hand. So I'm going to go ahead now and place the probe with the tongue electrode for our client to hold. Then I'm going to take an extra long towel because your client wants to relax in this phase of treatment. We don't want them to do any work. So if they fall asleep, I don't want to be able to worry that they might drop it out of their hands. So I'm going to secure it with a towel, wrapping it through the two hands and then tucking it under her elbow so that my client can go right back to normal and just enjoy the treatment. And now we are ready to go ahead and apply our medium. So as we said earlier, we really want to take advantage of the amazing benefits that our Nutriage Vital Mask gives. This not only is a mask, but it doubles up as a massage medium. So we're going to apply the massage medium onto the skin, and if you'd like, let's say you needed to amplify it with a little bit of hydration, you could apply your vitamin E and A oil. So why don't we do that as well? Especially because my client, I know she is concerned with aging. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 drops of my vitamin E and A oil into a mixing dish. And I'm going to grab my fan brush and ensure that I've just blended that as easily as possible. And the interesting thing is we want to start from the chest, apply it all the way to the rest of the face, and we are just going to apply long, even strokes. And it doesn't have to be thick, everyone. In fact, the thicker the application, the more product you're wasting. So consider this. You always want to remember that masks or massage mediums are large in molecule size. So they're only really working on the outer stratum corneum layers anyway. Now, this is going to assist us in, amplifying the penetration with the indirect high frequency, which by the way is still not on. I just have my client prepped. We get our medium onto the skin, and like you all remember studying when you learned about high frequency and indirect high frequency, is that you need a conducting current. So in indirect high frequency, the client is holding on to the electrode, and you, as another point of contact with the skin, you are completing the current. So your client may feel an activity, and you may feel a little bit of warm tingling underneath your fingers as well. So what I'm going to do now is just turn on my electrode, and there is an attachment. And I'm just going to check in with my client to ask her how she's feeling. How are you feeling? Do you feel any activity at all?
Yes.
Okay. So as soon as she says yes, I'm going to turn it down a bit. And we're going to check in with our client to see if she feels any activity. Do you feel any, Masi?
No.
No? Okay, just a little bit more. And
Yes.
She has confirmed. So I can actually feel a little bit of activity underneath my hand as well. And now we start our massage movement. Now, I cannot stress enough, everyone, it is so important to ensure that the prepping stage of this particular tip in your treatment is done before you even turn on your indirect high frequency machine. You want to ensure that the client's hands are wrapped with the electrode. You want to ensure that the product is applied to the skin. And you also want to ensure that as the professional in contact with the client, completing the conductivity of the current in the skin, that your hands are in contact. The beauty about indirect high frequency is the lighter you are with the touch, the more stimulating. It improves lymphatic flow. It helps to increase vasodilation, warming in the skin. So essentially, it's waking up the skin. So think of a devitalized, dry, mature, aging skin. Think about the zygomaticus muscles where we start to lose tone in the mandible, right around the jawline where we start to lose tone. And think about the complete anatomy of the face and focus on those areas with light pressure. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start to remove the product. But before I do that, assuming it's been about a good 10 minutes, I want to ensure that one of my hands is lifted off but one hand is still in contact with the client's skin, I'm going to turn off my indirect high frequency machine, and that's when I can remove my hand. We're ready to go ahead and rinse at this time. Now, I cannot emphasize enough, you've got to try this use of this mask because it feels completely like a slip and glide of a massage medium. It's still quite nourishing, quite present on the surface of the skin. So you're really yielding a lot of great benefits by using it during indirect high frequency in the phase of the massage medium. Need a bit of a kickstart to her massage, want to add a little bit more strength of ionizing the benefits of those formulas and active ingredients into the deeper layers, throw in indirect high frequency as one of your options. Now, normally here, it's a great time to apply your massage medium, but we're going to go right into our mask, which is one of our next tips. So I'm not going to do my steam towel here. You'll see me remove the next tip mask with our steam towel. So this has revived, re-energized, and also improved the radiance as well as lymphatic flow of the skin. So our next step now is we're going to acidify our mask. So remember when we did our extractions and we helped to do the desincrustation on Massey a little bit earlier, primarily in her T-zone? Well, I'm going to quantify that by following up with an acidifying mask. And I've chosen to go with our purifying active mask from our Pura line. And this is going to help to purify, it's going to help to draw out excess oil, and it's also still going to nourish with healing aloe as well as niacinamide, which by the way is also anti-aging. But the tip that we shared is really about acidifying an already great mask, and all of our masks are great, but I really want to show how you can get that next level. So we're going to take equal parts, remember, of our crema acida to dispense as we've already dispensed of our mask. So I'm going to do that into my container. And you remember that crema acida is all about minimizing irritation. It's about ensuring that the skin is softened, that it's strengthened, it's less dilated, and its partner in crime is your pH regulatora. So we're going to go ahead and put a pump and a half in there as well. With that being said, we're going to mix that together and we're going to apply it on our client's skin. Now, I could just focus on her T-zone with this specialty combination and then maybe do a brightening or a comfort type mask on the cheeks. Remember, you can customize completely on the rest of the face with whatever mask you want to use. But for today, so you can see the application, I'm going to apply it all over the face, including the upper chest and neck. And you can notice, for those of you who are avid users of the purifying active mask already, you can notice it's already a little bit more fluid in its texture. It is still super mentholy, so our client probably is experiencing a very refreshing surge on her skin. Are you feeling that, Massey?
Yeah.
Very refreshing on the skin, and in essence, what we need to remember that's happening right now is not only is she getting kaolin clay and salicylic acid, the standard ingredients in the purifying mask, but she's also getting that deeper penetration of acidity to really strengthen the follicle, to really help to further control any alkalinity in the skin, and to optimize that excellent balance of moisture and oil in the skin. I love this tip. I love this technique because it really shows diversity in your treatment options. So let's say I didn't use the purifying mask. I could have used the Illumina brightening mask. I could have used even my Mascara Soffice in our aqua hydrating mask. You can always throw in a little bit of crema acida and a little bit of your pH regulatora to acidify that mask. Now remember, combine that with your other modality, your device treatments, and charge accordingly because these are your more advanced treatments. And remember, you want to take a look and gauge your cost of use per product as well. So we'll let this sit on for a few minutes and then we'll go ahead and we're going to start to rinse. Now, ensuring that we have spent adequate amount of time with the mask on, we are now ready to rinse the skin. And I'm going to rinse first of all with gauze, because it's always nice to remove excess mask with your gauze. Soft gauze or your sponges, whatever you use, and not necessarily using your steam towels too often, because it can actually add up in your laundry bill. So I'm just going to give a great rinse to remove the excess at first, but this is where we've reserved our steam towel. Steam towel is always what a client feels like makes the treatment. You know that. And even if you feel like her skin shouldn't be having a steam towel, they don't feel complete unless they've had a steam towel. Well, my client's skin is not indicating that I shouldn't use a steam towel, so she's good to go. She's in the clear. But if I did have a sensitive skin, if I had someone who had more inflammatory evidences on the skin, steam towel probably would not be the best route. So our last and final tip at the very end is going to show how you can still give that client what they need, what they want, what they think they're paying for, and still not compromise the quality and the effect of the skin at the end of the treatment. So I've gone ahead and I've rinsed. Now I'm ready to go in and apply my steam towel. All right, so now we're ready for the client's favorite part of the treatment, the steam towel. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. I've taken it out of my hot towel cabbie, and you always want to just test it on your arms first. Let it air dry a little bit, let the steam off, and then you always want to chest test it first. Is that okay, Masi?
Yes.
Okay, so if it's too warm, you'll feel her a little bit jump at that point. So that's a little tip for us. So then we're going to go ahead, get our steam towel on, and you always want to ensure the client is able to breathe. Something minor, but something very important. Believe it or not, in my experience, and probably yours as well, a lot of clients don't even know that they're claustrophobic until the steam towel phase of the treatment. So if you can keep the mouth and the nose uncovered, they're totally fine. Other times, your clients may even panic underneath that particular phase. So bear that in mind. Let her enjoy the warmth of the towel. And we're going to go ahead and then just remove any excess and just pay closer attention to the areas that we might have, missed, any folds or creases of the skin. I'm going to wrap my hands and do what we call our mitt to ensure that we do take due diligence to go through the neck, where the mask might have moved and spread to, and we're done with our mask removal. So now that we've removed our mask, I want to show you how you can remember to rev up your masks. You actually would have seen me do it already, so I'm not going to apply it on at this particular time, but I am going to refer to various complexes like cozyme complex to really restore an inflamed skin. So this is great because it permeates into the deepest layers of the skin, because cozyme complex is more of a fluid and it's excellent after your invasive procedures. You've got your unica, you also have all the way through to your recovery complex, which is for your sensitive skin. But I know because my client is concerned with aging, but she's not an extremely dry skin, unica is a great option for her. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this onto the skin directly, because that is the most potent application of any serum. Any complex that goes directly onto the skin is uninterrupted when it goes directly underneath a mask or moisturizer. But because we're going to finish off with a moisturizer, and I want to show us how we can help to influence the corrective property, we're going to be using our brightening our brightening cream, which is excellent to target the areas of unevenness, hyperpigmentation. For Masi today, I could have also used our unica, which is also incredible to really target 360 degrees of aging. But for a moisturizer, it's rather simple. Take a little bit in the palm of your hand, and then you're going to go ahead and take any of your complexes or your vitamin E and A oil. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe take a pump of my unica to help to add peptide fighting agents into my brightening, illuminizing moisturizer. So I'm applying that even on top of the applied serum that went directly onto her skin. Now this has an SPF of 15. We don't deem it that's enough for full application, especially if you have proceeded with a professional peel and all of your other more advanced steps in your treatment. So we advise that you go with a higher SPF, but this is a great start in that direction. And it also has your mulberry and your bearberry to target pigmentation formation. Blends wonderfully into every skin type. And now I've added the influence of, revved it up really with my Unica, my Unihal, my Unica complex, which is adding that quality of firming, damage repairing properties into the skin. Our next step, as I mentioned, is one of my favorites, and this is the use of our soothing formula from our new triage. This is amazing because remember, it helps to shield the skin in those problematic areas, those raw areas. We did extractions today for Masi, so I'm going to take a little bit onto my ring finger. And I'm going to apply it onto the lips because it helps to build the vermilion border, helps to strengthen and treats the lips, goes on effortlessly and so comfortably onto the lips. So lip line and the lips. And this is great even if a client wants to put on some gloss after, or her lip stain, or her lip stick of sorts. But I'm also going to take a little bit and take around the nose wing area. As I'm looking at Masi's skin, I saw throughout the treatment, just in the nose wing area, she had a little bit of flushing and blushing. And I know that when I applied my purifying mask and even my desincrustation solution, there was a little bit of flushing in that area as well. So just to finish off, I'm just guarding and shielding those key spot areas in addition to her lips. Remember, it's not for all face application, but it's for those spot treatments. A real tip for you to finish off by keeping that barrier contained and strengthening the barrier function of the skin. So to finish off our treatment, what we're going to do is add a wow factor. And that is really anything above and beyond what she has normally expected. So you could have added touch points, maybe a little bit of reflexology while the mask was on, a great scalp massage, anything of an added value. One of my favorite ones that I've acquired over the years, I want to share with you, some of you already know, is to finish off her treatment with a steam towel on the back. So many of our clients don't have a strong lower back, and if they're more mature, maybe you want to assist them getting out of the bed. And we don't want to assume that everybody is just, fine with getting up out of their bed. So we're going to come alongside the client. We're going to assist her, and I'm going to bend my knees and engage and ask my client to lock arms with me, grab my elbow as I grab hers. With my other hand, I'm going to scoop underneath and assist her up out of the bed. And with that, I'm going to obviously have my mirror handy to be able to give to her so she can see how great her skin is right away. And then also, we're going to finish off with a surprise and delight steam towel on the back. Glass of water is just on the table nearby to her, so she's already loving it and she wants to know how she can maintain her great skin that we've achieved today. And everyone, that is our pro tips and tricks for today with Dermo28. I've just shown you 7. You may even have many more than that. But whatever it is, you want to make sure that you understand the foundational aspects of your Dermo28, the rudimentary treatments, understand their functionalities, and then take the limits off. Be able to understand what the needs of the client's skin is exhibiting and understand your formulas so that you can really tailor fit and customize a fantastic treatment. So I thank you for your time, and we will see you at the next webinar series. Have a great day.